So in this game, if you lose that race, you may actually lose your car, which is pretty crazy to think about because those cars cost a couple $1,000s. However, if you do win the race, you may have just secured next month's paycheck, making it all worthwhile. What is up everybody, welcome to the channel. My name's Bade and today we're covering Wilder World's devlog 2, as well as the release of the game's very first phase, Midnight in Wiami. This includes how you can join a racing club, bag yourself a car and race your way to the top of the leaderboard, earning yourself a share of the daily $10,000 in prize money. And that's not all, we also have some brand new features that have been leaked showcasing how you can borrow your car to other players and potentially share in their earnings. Yep, Midnight in Wiami has real life rewards and you can get your hands on it if you're any good at racing. After 2 years of development, the Wilder World team got to release the racing phase of the game called Midnight in Wiami, and it had its very first public release at the Art Basel convention, where players were allowed to play the game for the very first time. To make things even better, fans were allowed to play it in a real-life driving simulation kit. And in case you're wondering, yes, I am jealous. This was the very first time that the game was open to the public after years of planning and creating, as the developers got to showcase years of their hard work to the public. The event overall was a major success as the game received rave reviews, drawing in tons of new fans. This however is only the beginning, as it's the first of 4 phases of the game as Wilder World attempts to bridge the gap between Web3 and mainstream gaming. Now if you don't know what any of this is, or you're just hearing about Wilder World for the very first time, then think of it like Ready Player One, or at least the closest thing we have to it. Wilder World is a 5D metaverse game built with the use of blockchain technology to forge a limitless world in which thousands of players can race, complete quests, earn real money, and even build their very own home within the metaverse. Here you are bound by nothing but your imagination, as the game offers you limitless freedom to create an online life for you to live out all your wildest dreams. The city of Wiami is a one-to-one replica of the actual city of Miami, and with a map size that's 13 times larger than the last GTA, you're going to need to know your way around the city. Just some of the things on offer in Wiami are bikes, cars, beasts, apartments, sneakers, fashion, and much more. To top it all off, your time spent developing your character in-game will be of real-life value to you, as players will be able to sell their in-game avatars to other players along with everything they've acquired throughout the game. Sounds cool, huh? Like I said, it's Ready Player One and it's coming up hot on the heels of all your favorite games. The very first playable version is Midnight in Wiami, and it takes place in the heart of the Little Meow neighborhood, taking you on an illegal street race throughout the city. Of course, like all street races, there are shortcuts to make sure you get an edge over your opponent, and that's pretty important if you want to make it to the top of the racing standings. You see, there are 3 top prizes that you're going to want to get your hands on. The first one is the most wins in the last 24 hours, the second is the fastest track time, and the third is the fastest single lap time. Getting first, second or third place in any of these categories will score you some serious cash rewards, as the daily pool of $10,000 worth of wild tokens are divided up into pools of 33% per category for the first season. Now with most Web3 games, there's usually a catch of some sort that prevents you from withdrawing your daily earnings, but Wilder World doesn't seem to have any of that just yet. Instead, winners are allowed to withdraw their earnings every single day at 11:59 PDT, which is Pacific time zone in America. What is super important to note is that the article states that the daily rewards are based off of the value of 50,000 wild tokens, which, like all other cryptocurrencies, have been fluctuating in price throughout the year. The great news is that at the time that this article was published, which was the 30th of September, the value of the Wilder World token was still quite low. Now if we go and track the price, we'll find that it was at a low of 20 cents to the dollar. The current price, well, it's now almost doubled that, sitting just above 40 cents to the dollar. That ups the value of the daily rewards to just under $20,000 for Midnight in Wiami. Now I don't know about you guys, but to me that's a prize worth taking some extra driving lessons for. Now if you do have any plans to go full Dominic Toretto and cheat your way to some prize money, then do keep in mind that there will be consequences for your actions. You see, in order to play the game, you must first stake your NFT vehicle, which means you'll have to hand it over to the 9 Lives Racing Club. They will then provide you with a loaned vehicle for you to use in-game. Now there are 2 reasons for this. Part 1 is so that players will have to hone in their driving skills in order to get ahead in the game, instead of relying on the fastest car to cash all the prize money. For me, this levels the playing field and makes all the sense in the virtual world. The second reason is to hold you accountable, just in case you do find a way to game the system, some way or another. This will result in you losing your car to the impound lot in Wiami. Whether or not you'll be able to steal your car back, well, that's a whole other story. Brand new features will be added to the game after every season, as the game is still being built from the inside out. One of the main features is the ability to rent out your NFT vehicle in exchange for a percentage of the driver's winnings, which seems pretty cool as it can serve as a form of passive income for players that don't have the time to race their way to the top. Do keep in mind that rewards for Midnight in Wiami will not always be the same. In fact, they will differ from season to season, with other in-game items and NFTs coming up for grabs. Now, if you want to play the game, it's going to be rolled out in stages over the coming months. So far, only a select group of players have been chosen for the very first round, with a lot more to come as developers test out its launch. With the next phase set to debut the game's multiplayer feature, you can expect a lot more wilders to hit the roads of Wiami. And if you're wondering what the controls will look like, this is a rough idea of what you can expect on a controller. Of course, more traditional gamers will have the option of resorting to the use of a keyboard. When the game does become available to the wider public, downloading it should be pretty straightforward, with the developers looking to simplify the onboarding process, as well as the addition of in-game wallets. Of course, this will be a major milestone for the team, as the transition from Web3 gaming to mainstream can be quite tricky. How successful will it be? Only time will tell. By the way, if you've made it this far in the video and you haven't already subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Click that subscribe button, and while you're at it, watch this light up as I ask you to hit that like button as well. Now, let's get back to the game. Now, if fast cars and underground racing is not your thing, then don't worry, as it's only one of 4 pillars of Wilder World as a game. Exploration is a massive part of the game, with the entire map of Wiami being 13.5 times larger than that of GTA 5. You will have the entire city open for you to explore. This includes every single building that you see in Wiami, from apartments to shopping malls, high-rise buildings, as well as constructing your very own home on the outskirts of the city using raw materials. Now, this has only been mentioned briefly, as building your own homes will come in the latter phases of the game, but it is happening. Leveling up and completing quests is the order of the day, and you will need to do this in order to unlock brand new features within the game that will keep players intrigued as you go from season to season looking to beat out the competition. Combat is another feature added to the game, with players able to engage in direct battle with opposing players, depending on where you are in the city, of course. You see, Wiami will have safe zones as well as danger zones in which anything goes. This is where law enforcement will come into play, so you have to have your wits about you if you do choose a life of crime. As far as I know, this can become a pretty lucrative way of making a living, as criminal activity is set to be promoted within Wiami in order to give it a more realistic feel. I mean, somebody's got to play Trevor, right?
You're a genius, you moron. Come on, come here.
When it comes to earning a living in Wiami, the city will look to offer you as much opportunity as possible, with the ability to open up online stores within the game. On top of the payouts for racing and rewards, certain positions, quests, or jobs within Wiami will also come with rewards, depending on how good you are at the game. There are multiple ways to monetize your in-game experience, which is what should set Wilder World apart from other games. So think of it as the first step into a new world in which gaming meets finance. Wilder World's AI avatar system is one of the coolest features, as it's wildly advanced for where the game is. It offers a lot more than I expected from the design team, as it goes into great detail to make your character look a whole lot like you. Here you get to make a lifelike character to roam around in Wiami. Most of the time, this is done with a generic looking avatar that only gets to change its choppy clothing, as well as going to the barber to put on a beard. While in Wilder World you get to do all of that and a whole lot more. The Avatar Creator tool has probably had the most leaked footage showcasing just how it works, and here you can alter just about everything from skin tone to eye shape, nose size, hairstyles, helmets, and even whatever weird racing suit you want to wear. To most of you, this might not seem like much, but it actually matters a whole lot, especially in a game where items hold resale value. You see, Wilders will be able to equip their avatars with various NFT clothing items that will boost their stats and directly influence the ability in-game, such as run speed, fighting power, flight, and much more, whilst other features are simply for style points. So making him or her look as cool or as weird as possible could all work in your favor. Now, the release date for the Avatar NFTs have been pushed back because of the overall market of NFTs, so do expect an announcement if and when the market stabilizes later this year. Now, you're probably wondering what type of computing power you will need to play the game, and well, here's what you're going to need. So, minimum requirement systems are CPU Intel Gen 10, NVIDIA 3060, which is crazy. I wish I had a graphics card like that. And then 32 gig RAM. So these are all basically high-end stuff, and that's minimum. You know, like for me, that's editing. I would use maybe something over 2000, but 3060 is crazy. 32 gigs of RAM, that's decent. Windows 10 or 11. And then NVIDIA 64 gig RAM, 4090 for full power. That's for 60 frames per second. So it's somewhere between this range. And personally, I don't see it as being that much of a difference. If you can get either one, they're both quite powerful PCs. So I guess that's what to expect as technology advances. I'm sure this will become the basic standard for what computers are in the future. So I wouldn't gasp too much at the specs required for the gaming. This is the future of gaming. This is basically having a console. And if you're a massive PC fan, then this is basically normal. This is next to nothing. So yeah, that's what to expect. Now, in one of my previous videos, I did cover Wilder World avatars in a lot more detail, as well as the 5 types of racing that you will be able to find in Wiami. So if you haven't already seen Devlog 1, it is jam-packed with so much information that adds depth to an already amazing game. Do make sure to check it out. I'll see you in the next one.